For all the doubters out there that don't believe the Bundesliga can compare with the Premier League for excitement, for drama, for goals, well, I give you this game. Match day 34, final day of the season. Mainz hosting Leverkusen with it all on the line for both teams. The drama was built up like this. If Mainz win and or Leipzig lose in their game hosting Stuttgart, well, then Mainz would go through to the Conference League for the very first time in their history. If Leverkusen drew and or even better managed to win, well, they would set this Bundesliga record, this remarkable record of having been unbeaten away from home for 34 straight games. That's right, 34 games unbeaten away from home. It's a record that would stretch across 2 seasons. So, with all that drama set up, let's go through the 2 starting teams. This, by the way, is a video worth hanging around for because it's just got it all, right? And I'm wearing my second placed specialist top, the Arsenal perennial second place, perennial bridesmaids. This is in honour of Leverkusen, by the way, which you already knew going into this game, so don't worry about that. Anyway, right, and it's red and white, and it matches with the colour scheme of both teams. Right, Mainz playing at home under Bo Henriksen in a 3-4-2-1 formation. Robin Zentner back in goal, brilliant, great, we love to see it. A back three of Hans Olsen, Stefan Bell, and then fast as fuck Danny da Costa. There's your back three. On the left-hand side of the midfield, as a left wing-back, we've got Philippe Onweni. On the right, we've got the Frenchman Anthony Cassie. More on him later on. In that midfield, we've got Nadim Amiri. Oh my God, does he take a beautiful free kick. Alongside the hard-working Keisho Sano. Japanese, just absolute destroyer in that midfield. Again, more on him later. And then we've got an attacking midfield too of Ji-sung Lee on the left alongside Paul Niebel. And then they're all trying to feed Johnny Burkhardt, who going into this game had 16 Bundesliga goals of his own. Right, so that's Mainz. Again, a win for them, and hope that Stuttgart can rain on their parade for Leipzig. Then Mainz would end up in the Conference League, the Europa Conference League. For Leverkusen, 3-4-2-1. Usually, well, actually it's a 3-4-3 in it, which is what Xabi Alonso, in his last ever game, by the way, managing Leverkusen. It's Hrdecki, he's back in goal this time. We've got the back three, it's the familiar three, right? It's the rear guard of Piero Hincapié, the Colombian on the left, Edmund Tapsoka on the right, and Jonathan TAH in his last ever game for Bayer Leverkusen. Future's unclear, TBD. Was the centre of that back three. On the left of that midfield four, we've got Alejandro Grimaldo. On the right, Nathan Teller, ex-Burnley FC. Again, he played for the big brain one, Vincent Kompany, at Burnley when they got promoted to the Premier League a couple of years ago. A midfield two of Ezequiel Palacios. What a name. Ezequiel alongside Alex Garcia, the Spaniard, ex-Manchester City. Florian Wirtz in potentially his last game for Bayer Leverkusen. That's TBD, isn't it? He's the centre of an absolute transfer saga. Where's he going to end up? All you Bayern Munich fans, FC Bayern fans, want him there, right? Okay, will it happen? We'll have to wait and see, because Olli Hoeneß, who's former president, one of the directors at FC Bayern, he's getting a little bit pissed off, isn't he? He's getting a little bit pissed off with being hounded on a daily basis, on an hourly basis by journalists. Him being hounded and all sorts of things being written about him. It's not pleasing the Florian Wirtz family estate either, I might add. Anyway, Flirts playing alongside Jonas Hoffman, and they all want to feed Patrick Schick. Again, those that have got a close eye will notice there's a 2 next to his name already. Right, so again, it was Mainz win, Conference League football, Leverkusen draw and or win. They end up with this remarkable 34-game unbeaten away record. And here we go. This fucking game, honestly. Right. Mainz had 3 goals. Yes, count them. 1, 2, 3. 3 goals disallowed within the first 33 minutes. 2 VAR overturned, I should say, and 1 a straight flag from the referee's assistant for offside. That was a goal that was not given by Ji-sung Lee. Right, so I know Leverkusen, Xabi Alonso has this sort of almost like witches voodoo around him, right? They've got that reputation of being Leverkusen, and that comes into effect as we go through the data on this game. But fucking hell, 3 goals disallowed in the first 32 minutes. The last one that was disallowed, by the way, which was a finish by Hans Olsen, the defender. If you look at that replay, or look it up on Ask Jeeves, or recreate it down the park, you'll see that Hidreki, well, Hans Olsen is adjudged to have kicked the ball out of Hidreki's hands. To me, as a former goalkeeper, member of the Goalkeepers Union, I don't think he had that ball under control. You've got to have 2 hands on it. It looked like there was only one. Anyway, Hans Olsen stabs the ball home, and it's disallowed by VAR because VAR, those bods that are in Köln, they reckon that the ball was under control of the goalkeeper, therefore it's a foul on the keeper. Anyway, 3 goals disallowed in 33 minutes. And they were just piling forward, and you must have thought, Bo Henriksen, all you Mainz fans must have thought, fucking hell, this is not going to be our day. Well, it was eventually. 2 minutes after that last disallowed goal, Paul Nebel scores. Amiri's bombing down the right, just lightning pace, like Anthony Cassie pace, right? Passes the ball inside, it comes back out to Paul Nebel from Amiri. So, yeah, so those... Cassie, Amiri, Nebel are involved in this goal. Nebel's wide in the box. He puts this shot and it takes a slight deflection. It looked like it came off Arthur. And Arthur came on as a substitute quite early on for Grimaldo. It looked like it flicked off his foot. Anyway, like it ends up inside Hidreki's near post, and that's 1-0. And all the fans are like, wow, okay, we better just check. Is this going to be disallowed? Like, are the gods against us today? Is fate against us? No. That goal was given 35 minutes. So at that point, Mainz, they're doing all they can to guarantee that win, right? Anyway, we jump then to the second half. This is where Patrick Schick steps up to score his 20th and 21st Bundesliga goals of the season. We come here, check this out, right? So it was actually a penalty. I mean, slightly dubious in nature. Hans Olsen, the guy that stabbed home what he thought was the opening go-ahead goal, but was ruled out for offside for a foul. Sorry. Hans Olsen brings down Patrick Schick. It's a bit clumsy. Anyway, he steps up, cool as you like, rolls the ball into the opposite side of a dive from Robin Zentner. That's 1-1. And then, within a matter of 5 minutes, and there's a pattern, right? It happens in every European division, probably happens all around the world, right? Really great teams that score, capture the momentum. They score lightning quick goals, a bit like in cricket. I know this is a wild mental cerebral leap, but in cricket they say, don't they? You take 1 wicket, 2 or 3 come in clusters. That's for anyone who likes cricket out there. That analogy applies, right? Dortmund do this brilliant. Dortmund tend to score 1 and get the second one within like 3 or 4 minutes, and that's exactly what Leverkusen did here. It's a corner. The ball's rolled out to Garcia, who's pointing to his colleagues to do an overlap. He sends in almost a training ground type cross. Laconic, relaxed as you like, nonchalant, just leans back, whips this ball in with his right foot, and up Sheik. He beats all the defenders, he powers his header home, and they get the go-ahead goal for 2-1. At that point, Mainz, they're dead and buried, they're out of it. There's no European football. At least they're not going to get relegated like they were last season. Anyway, Jonathan Bergkamp and his colleagues are not giving in. There's a long ball over the top. Keisho Sano, who was involved in those 3 disallowed goals, by the way. Keisho Sano sends a long ball over the top. Lee is running onto it. Arthur, he runs back. There's an awkward collision. It doesn't look like a foul. It's a little bit clumsy. Anyway, Arthur manages to scramble onto his feet, gets the ball, hoofs it clear, but then it goes to VAR. The old referee, he gives the penalty because Arthur's adjudged to have fouled Ji-Sung Lee. The penalty's given. Johnny Bergkamp steps up with everything on the line, just after the hour mark. He sends it to Hidreki's left, or his right, I should say, or Bergkamp's right. Hidreki gets a hand on it. You can hear it, actually. If you listen back on the replay on Ash Jeeves or recreate it in the park, you can hear that there's a glove, right? So it clips his glove, but it's not enough. like literally a couple of inches away from going wide of the post. It nestles in the bottom corner. Burkout's running in, grabs the ball like everybody does. You've all seen that animation on EAFC, right? Grabs the ball. They all run back to the centre circle, right? There's a couple of substitutions that are made not long after. Cassie goes off. Vertschwanig comes on. Hancholson gets a yellow card. More substitutions. There's like a flurry of them. Florian Wirtz takes a yellow card. Buendia, ex-Aston Villa, he comes on for Alex Garcia. 87 minute. The board goes up. There's 7 minutes of extra time, right? But because of the result in the other game, Stuttgart are beating Leipzig 3-2. So all that Mainz have to do is just hold on for a draw. A win would absolutely, completely seal it, put a cherry on it. And do you know what? Again, this game delivered in drama. Stefan Bell, the centre-back, from a corner, right? The ball's over the top. It seems to hit everybody on the arm, especially Emi Buendia. Anyway, it hits somebody on the arm, but Bell controls it with his right foot. This is on the edge of the 6-yard box. Pushes it to his right, swings his foot around it, wraps it around it, hits the top corner of the goal, bounces over the line. Everyone goes fucking mental in Melwood Park because they believe that they've just won the game 3-2 and secured Europa League football for next season. Anyway, it goes to VAR. And I think it's like on the 94th minute, there's an agonising way. The goal is ruled off for handball. Handball adjudged against the goal scorer, Stefan Bell. Anyway, eventually, 97 minutes, 98 minutes, the referee blows his whistle. And everyone can calm the fuck down. Because, again, in the other game that was taking place, Stuttgart managed to beat Leipzig 3-2, which sends Mainz into the Conference League. And for Leverkusen, it secures that unprecedented 34 away game unbeaten streak. Clap that in. What a game of football it was. Honestly, anyone that complains that the Bundesliga is boring and just can't compete with the Premier League, go and watch the highlights of this game. Whew. Right, let's dig into some of the data then. So here's confirmation that for Leverkusen, Patrick Schick, he's ended up with 21 goals. No assists, selfish as they come. 21 goals for the Czechia striker, who's massive, isn't he? He's at least 6'6", right? He scored 21 goals. Brilliant. Here's confirmation. Here's his personal record, look. Patrick Schick, 21 Bundesliga goals, 32 goals in the entire season, by the way. You know, and here again, this is the Bayer Leverkusen Twitter post acknowledging that. 27 goals in all competitions. So that 32 includes the DFB Pokal, the Super Club, World Cup qualifying goals again for Czechia. But yeah, focus on the Bundesliga and the DFB Pokal and European, because of course they were in the Champions League but got knocked out by FC Bayern. 27 goals for Patrick Schick in all competitions. Again, we'll clap that one in. And in terms of the final goal scoring table, Harry Kane won that Arsenal-like little Gunner trophy with his 26 goals, but actually Patrick Schick tied for second behind African goal scoring sensation Serhou Guirassy from Dortmund. They both ended up on 21. And by virtue, of the alphabet and the fact that I think Serhou Guirassy came up with 2 assists, that puts him slightly ahead anyway. Yeah, joint second top goal scorer in the Bundesliga for Patrick Schick, the tall Czechia striker. Florian Wirtz, again, let's park the transfer saga for 1 second. Let's look at his record in the Bundesliga. 10 personal goals, 12 assists. He missed about 5 games for injury as well, which was their run-in. And you've got to ask yourself, right? Xabi Alonso is probably asking himself as well, what could have been? If Florian Wirtz doesn't get injured, or put another way, if he plays in those 5 games, who knows, right? They could have pushed Munich all the way. They might have even retained the title. Xabi Alonso might well still be, it might still well be, that's good English, isn't it? Might still well be the manager of De Work's self, right? As it is, he's off to coach Real Madrid. But imagine what could have been. Anyway, coulda, woulda, shoulda. We don't live in that world, do we? We live in a very definite world of black and white and goals in, out, and assists. 10 personal goals, 12 assists. In terms of the Bundesliga, obviously, as we've noted before in a previous video, Michael Olise has the most assists by a midfielder in the Bundesliga this season with 15. Florian Wirtz second with 12. And actually, if you look at the top 5 divisions, again, throughout Europe, you see Michael Olise leading the way for assists by a midfielder with 15. Jacob Murphy, randomly, of Newcastle. But again, they're pushing for Champions League. And who beat them on the weekend, eh? Who beat Newcastle 1-0? Who was it, Gonzo? That's right, it was us, wasn't it? It was Arsenal, closet Arsenal fans that we are. Anyway, Florian Wirtz, out of all the top 5 leagues in Europe, still ranked number 3 in terms of assists by midfielders. Alex Garcia, ex-Manchester City, 27-year-old Spaniard. Again, he came up with an assist. 3 personal goals, 4 assists for him from midfield from 17 regular starts. What's that? 28 games he's featured in all this season. And then we look at Mainz, right? With confirmation that 18 of their goals has come from Johnny Bergkamp. What a great year he's had. Again, he's played for Die Mannschaft. He's played 45 minutes for Germany's national team. That was in the UEFA Nations League quarter-final against Italy. Let's have a breakdown then. Let's have a breakdown of their individual talent. Right, so Paul Nebel's only 22. Fabulous player. Bright future ahead of him. 10 goals in the Bundesliga. 4 assists. That's coming from someone who plays as an attacking midfielder. 26 starts, 5 sub-appearances. So out of 31 games, 10 goals, 4 assists. And actually, he made it into kicker. Kicker being the German football magazine. Big profile, massive profile actually in Germany. It's a fucking big country, isn't it? Anyway, Paul deservedly makes Kicker's final team of the week for 24-25. And there he is in the centre of the midfield. He's got Michael Olise to his right and Xabi Simons. Where's he going? On his left. Oh, look, there's Marcel Sabitzer, the Austrian from BVB, from Dortmund, right behind him. So, yeah, great season for Paul Nebel. He makes Kicker's last team of the week. Johnny Bergkamp, again, just to qualify, 18 goals, 2 assists, 20 goal involvements from him. Let's look at that. Where does that put him on the table? That puts him in 9th. Oh, I've just covered it up, so yeah. 9th. So, again, Harry Kane, he was the winner in the end. Most goals and most goal involvements in the Bundesliga with 34. Michael Olise, his teammate, second with 27. 12 personal goals, 15 assists. And Omar Mamouche, who only played 17 times. 24 goal involvements before his big transfer to Manchester City. And another way down there, you can see, look, just behind Patrick Schick, 20 goal involvements for Johnny Bergkamp. Well done. Fabulous effort there. And again, confirmation that this result, this Stuttgart effort, this 3-2 away win at the Die Rotten Bulls against the Red Bulls of Leipzig, well, that secured Europa Conference League football for Mainz. And again, we've covered this in a different video, but I'll link that in the description box down below, because Frankfurt beat Freiburg and Dortmund beat Kiel. Dortmund with 7 wins at their last 8 games. That meant that Frankfurt and Dortmund, well, they both qualified for the Champions League. Freiburg qualified for the Europa League. And then by virtue of being only 3 points behind Freiburg, but finishing a point above Leipzig, Mainz end up in the Europa League. Yeah, the UEFA Europa Conference League. Thursday night football with Pat Nevin. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And there's a post from the English version of the Mainz 05X social media team post. Look at this. Bundesliga match day 34. There's the squad. There's the ultras in the background celebrating as they deservedly should be. Anyway, it's confirmation of the table that they finished in 6th, highlighted in red. Look, that 52 points guarantees them Europa League football next year. Here's another post. This is on their German site. Europa Pokal in Mainz next year they are, so we'll be seeing a lot of that on Thursday night football next season, which is brilliant. And then here's a shout out as well. I just wanted to call your attention to this one. This is the footballtransfers.com. This is their team of the season, their Bundesliga team of the season. And at right back, Anthony Cassie. Look, French defender Anthony Cassie has undergone a really interesting transformation under the Mainz coach, Bo Henriksen. He was a left back by trade. Cassie's been moved to the opposite side, to right back, where he now features primarily as a right wing back despite being left-footed. It's been a tactical trick that has worked to great effect. Yeah, well, it kept him in the Bundesliga last season, and in this season, they've ended up in the Conference League. There you go. Absolutely fantastic. Anthony Cassie, clap that in. He makes footballtransfers.com Bundesliga team of the season. And I always go on about this guy. Where has he gone? Look, this guy, Kaisho Sano, hard-working Japanese midfielder. Got his card there. Look, his FIFA Ultimate Team card, 90 rated. Absolutely deserved that one. And he's third in the Bundesliga this season for most interceptions. Look at that. Patrick Meinkav Heidenheim is 65. Sene Leinen, the Belgian from Werder Bremen, was 64. And Kaishu was 63 from Mainz. That's in 34 games. He played every single minute as well, by the way. Kaisho Sano played pretty much every single minute of every game this season for Mainz. What an engine that guy's got. What an engine he's got. And again, looking at his whoscored.com page, there you go. Clearances, 53 clearances in total from 34 games. And then blocks, look at that, 14 shots blocked, 3 crosses blocked, 52 passes blocked. What an effort from the hard-working Kaisho Sano. And there he is celebrating at full time with his fans. Look, passionate Kaisho fan base. There they are. And they've all given him a Japanese flag that's been signed by all his fans. That's beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Very tear-jerking moment, that. It's no surprise that the Japanese are going into the World Cup next year in a really good spot. And this is fabulous. Look at this comparison. Compare, contrast. This is Mainz last day of last season when they managed to stay up. There's Bo Henriksen cuddling his scoring prodigy, not wannabe. And here we are. Look, they've all got these T-shirts. Mainz are international because they're playing in the Europa League. Look at that. What a turnaround. 12 months on. That is a great photo. That really is. And then let's take a look at Leverkusen then. So, no away defeats in 2 seasons. That is true. Look at that. That's 2 entire seasons unbeaten away from home. That gets the clapping of all clappings, that. What a performance. And there's the record. Look, this is Xabi Alonso's record. 140 games managed, 88 wins, 33 draws and just 19 losses. And actually, most of those losses, they came in the first season where he took over, because he took over and kept them up, right? When Xabi joined that team, Leverkusen, it was 17th in the table. He finishes in 6th in his first year, qualifies for Europa League, and then the following year he wins it. He goes unbeaten, doesn't he? And hence he wins the Bundesliga, the Pokal, and the Super Cup. Yeah, what a performance that. That is fabulous. And again, Jonathan TAH in his last game by Leverkusen, 402 games, 18 goals, 10 years of service. Danke, Jonah. Danke. Yeah, where's he going now? Again, you knew it was coming. There's a video linked in the description down below where we explore where he's going to go. Is it going to be Europe? What is in Europe? So, is it going to be Spain? Is he going to end up at Barcelona? But they haven't got the money, have they? They're still reeling from that transfer disaster. All that money spent on Philippe Coutinho all those years ago. That's put them in a financial burden. Is it going to be Real Madrid? Because, of course, that's where Xabi Alonso is going. Or is he coming in the Premier League? Is he coming to Chelsea, Newcastle, Manchester United, probably Arsenal? Who knows? Or is he going to end up at FC Bayern? Well, anyway, that video is linked in the description down below. But Danke, Jonah, for your 10-year service and your 402 games. Now, of course, with him departing, Who's going to take his place at centre-back? Here's an article, on a post on X, Verkself Extra. Actually, it's been the site in Build, which is, that's important. And a couple of very important journalists. Here, look, Build Sport, Eric Peters, Philip Ahrens, who appeared on the Fussball show with the Fjørtoft, Jan Fjørtoft recently. Yeah, so let's give this article some credence. Bayer Leverkusen are in talks with Robin Koch and are considering triggering his release clause, which is 20 million euros. This came about because, and actually this article does spell it out so I can head back to it, that just a few days ago, whether they qualified or not, Robin Koch, once of Leeds of the Midlands, said, you know what, I want out of this. If we don't qualify for the Champions League, I want out. Leverkusen are looking for a successor to Jonathan TAH, also looking for a new manager. Here, says Fabregas' name has been called out again. Anyway, we'll have to follow this story to see if Robin Koch does indeed end up at the Werkself with Bayer Leverkusen. And then just to look at his stats, he's third this season for the most clearances in the Bundesliga. The lead, or the winner, was Denis Vavra, the Slovakian from from Wolfsburg. Look at that, 269 clearances. I'm assuming most of those were at home because they had a terrible home record, so there's a lot of balls into the box to clear. Patrick Meinke, well, he was also appeared in the most blocks made. Right, he's a busy boy, wasn't he, in that Heidenheim team? And then Robin Koch, look at that, third for the most clearances. We'll have to see what happens there. And talking of seeing what happens, Ajax in Amsterdam are considering reappointing prolific manager, serial trophy winner Erik ten Hag as their head coach. That's after Favoroli decided that he's going to disappear as manager. That's a fabulous one, right? So again, just for the record, Erik ten Hag, serial trophy winner in the Eredivisie with Ajax. He did win 2 trophies at Manchester United. He did win the Regionalliga League for Bayern Munich, FC Bayern, one of his first coaching jobs. We did a video, link in the description, because he was on the 2-person shortlist along with Cesc Fabregas to take over at Bayer Leverkusen. But apparently, according to this Sky Sport Germany article, Erik ten Hag is wanted by his former club Ajax. Anyway, what is confirmed is that this man, Xabi Alonso there's with his 3 trophies, and all those won in the same year. Invincibles, Bundesliga champions, double winners. And there's a very sentimental post from Bayer Leverkusen on X. Thank you for everything, Xabi. Danke, Xabi. He's off to Real Madrid. What a season, though. And they finish up, as we've highlighted already, second place. Champions League football guaranteed for next season. What a remarkable year, because the big one, really, is this, isn't it? It's this 34-game unbeaten run across 2 seasons. Absolutely remarkable. Anyway, what do you think of that then, people? What do you think to the just remarkable 34-game unbeaten streak away from home? What's your comments on that? Where's Jonathan TAH going? Is Robin Koch going to leave De Adler and join up with Erik ten Hag as boss of Leverkusen? It's all up in the air, isn't it? Bundesliga season wrapped up for another year for Leverkusen. Mainz in the Conference League. What's your thoughts on that? Of course, Mainz previous managers include Thomas Tuchel, and before that, Jurgen Klopp. There's a lot to be discussed, people. You know the drill. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, don't think too hard. How about a like? How about subscribing? How about you tell your classmates, your workmates, your family, your people while you're out and about and in with a shout? Let them all know. Bring them all in. Everyone gets looked after here. It's a safe space. Real men cry too. I'm sure there were a lot of tears cast at the Mauer Arena on the weekend following Mainz qualifying for the Europa Conference League. Wow. We're going to go now and take a lie down. I'm exhausted. Bundesliga, as much drama, if not more than the Premier League. There's your discussion point. Anyway, I'll be the same. Ciao, ciao, ciao for now.